Let's talk about some important tips when it comes to sight casting to fish. This can really apply to any species you're going after, but keep in mind that fish are going to be fish, and not all of them will respond the same way. Now, first, many people make a big mistake thinking that the lure is the most important factor when it comes to sight casting to a fish. While the lure does play a role, since that's what the fish is actually going after, what's most important is your approach and presentation, and then the lure comes next. Now, what I mean by this is being able to get your lure in the right spot at the right time in the right way in order to trigger a strike. So first, let's talk about gear and equipment. Just like with anything you're doing, if you don't have the right tools for the job, it's going to make that job more difficult, or you're not going to get the job done. So I recommend a 7'6" medium power fast action rod paired with a 2500 size reel. This keeps your setup nice and light and allows for longer accurate casts with that longer rod. Line is also very important. You want to keep it as light as possible to get the most out of casting distance, and also stealth. I recommend anywhere from 8 to 10 pound braid as your main line, and maybe 15 to 20 pound leader for your leader material. Now, you can go with mono or fluoro. There's a big debate on which one's more stealthy. From some testing we've done, fluorocarbon is thinner than mono of the same pound breaking strength, so that could be why fluorocarbon tends to be a little bit more stealthier, but go with whichever you prefer. And the cleaner the water, the lighter and longer the leader you'll want to go with. Now we come down to lure selection. You want to keep this as simple as possible and find a lure that you're confident with. Something that you can keep rigged up all day, only bring that lure with you, and you're comfortable catching fish with. What you don't want to do is waste a bunch of time switching out lures, opening your tackle box, because that's just something else that's going to spook fish around you when you're making a bunch of noise. Now, I recommend a small paddle tail or shrimp profile in a light, natural color, such as our 2.0 paddle tail or our Prawn USA Junior in Slam Shady or natural colors. That works really well, and you'll want to rig them on a 3/0 1/16 ounce or 1/8 ounce weedless hook, such as our Haas Helix hook. The key is keeping the profile small and light and also weedless, since you are pretty much 99% of the time casting up into the shallows where you have grass and some structure. Now, when you're actually casting to a fish that you see, sometimes they can be close to you and you can still have a shot at catching them, which you'll see here, but the same tactics apply whether you're close to the fish or a good distance away. So, number one, the placement of the cast is key. You don't want your lure to land right on the fish's head, and you never want to cast over their back, because oftentimes your line may actually basically run over that fish and spook them, and also if they see a shadow go over them, they'll spook off. So cast ahead of the fish depending on the direction they are going, and be sure to keep your rod tip up to keep more of your line out of the water, because fish can actually feel your line moving in the water before they even notice your lure. So the more line that's out of the water, the better. And then as the fish approaches, slowly drag the lure or give a very subtle pop to draw attention to it. You don't want to do excess motion and action, because that can actually spook the fish away, especially if they're just cruising and something all of a sudden pops out of nowhere. They'll either have one or two reactions. They'll go after it, or they will get scared and run away. And most of the time they'll get spooked off and go away from your lure. And also, adding scent to your lure can help eliminate having to make too much commotion and movement, so they can pick up on the scent as opposed to the action. And also keep in mind, if you need any lures or tackle that is mentioned in this video, we do carry it at fishstrong.com, our shop page. And if you're one of our insider members, be sure to take advantage of those really good discounts you get on the shop page. And if you're not a member, really missing out on some good deals on tackle to save you money. So be sure to check that out. Now, that will wrap up this video. Hopefully these tips can help you out next time you get out there on the water and you decide to cast at some fish that you can see. If you have any questions or comments, drop them down below.